The trade deals are continuing to move along in a positive and productive direction. The Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Commerce, the President himself continue to be engaged on this every single day, keeping in mind the American worker and reshoring jobs here at home. You had a new announcement from the President yesterday. Tariffs on the film industry. We're going to make Hollywood great again, and it's just one of the many great proposals the President has had to make our country boom again and to bring jobs back here at home.
The movie tariffs, what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movie-making capabilities from the United States. I've done some very strong research over the last week, and we're making very few movies now. Hollywood is being destroyed. Now, you have an grossly incompetent governor that allowed that to happen, so I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry. And I'm saying, if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, then we should have a tariff on movies that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money. I mean, they're supporting them financially. So that's sort of a threat to our country in a sense.
I hate when this man says our country. I hate the way he says it. Everything is a threat to these people.
It's a very popular thing. I can tell you one thing, movie makers love it.
Now see, this is what they're talking about when they talk about the rise of anti-intellectualism, feelings and vibes over facts. 1 week's worth of research has now put him in expert position to say what's going on with the film industry and how to bring film industry jobs back to America. The party of small government, right, is now trying to regulate and govern every single aspect of your life. Hello world, welcome back to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, turn the bell notifications on so you know every time we drop a new video. I have finally released my latest short film, The Taking, which is on the Poseidon Films YouTube channel. After you're finished watching this video, go to the description box. You will see the link to The Taking, out now. It is a suspense, crime, horror film. I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it. It's up to 3.5 thousand views now. Please get on there, comment, like it, run it up, y'all. We also released another short film called Interchange 2 months ago, and that is over 100,000 views now on the channel. I literally can't believe it. I'm so grateful. If you guys haven't seen that one, please. It needs comments, it needs likes. We want to get these films as big as possible because this literally is supporting independent filmmaking. As we get through this video, you're going to see how incredibly important that is. So on Sunday evening, y'all President Donald Trump got on his social media platform Truth Social and made this post. The movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. So as typical with the people in this party, the problem is, you know, the dirty foreigners that is stealing our jobs. Forget about the fact that rates have to keep going up in the film industry because the cost of living is astronomical. Unregulated housing, unregulated groceries, which is why people need to make higher and higher and higher day rates that then goes to the production company and so on and so forth. But let's continue on. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. I need y'all to do me a favor. Do not let that sentence in particular slip past you. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. He's calling foreign films or films that are made abroad messaging and propaganda. That is a censorship dog whistle. Out of all the articles I've read, out of all the videos I watched, no one has talked about what that line in this post meant. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. Like I said, feelings and vibes run amok. If they did any modicum of research or talk to people, they would know that this is not the answer to the problem. It's like training a dog, right? If I call my dog to come over to me and my dog doesn't come, I don't go over to the dog and kick it in the stomach, okay? What I do is I incentivize the dog to want to be near me. Did this when he was a baby through giving him a piece of chicken, giving him a piece of cheese, treats, use my high-pitched voice so that the dog knows that when he comes towards me, he's gonna get good things. If the dog doesn't come, I don't kick him in the stomach, I don't spank him. That's not how you deal with people. This, like anything else, is, in my opinion, another way for the mafia mentality, the mafia criminal enterprise mentality of American government to rear its ugly head. This is literally no different than the mafioso, the capo, the associates or whatever going to the local laundromat and saying, y'all gotta pay us $1,000 a month or else we're gonna burn your entire laundromat down. There are people in the government right now, as they always have been. This is not a new thing. This is going on Biden, etc., Clinton, Reagan, Nixon, going back, so on and so forth. There are very sick and twisted people in the government who are looking at every sector of American life, of the world, and trying to figure out ways how they can extract more money from it. You want to make films? How does the federal government make money off of films? We're going to 100% tariff you. And now you're going to have to pay us before you bring the movie back. I ask y'all this question. Who do you think is going to end up paying the tariffs? The same people that end up paying it, who are paying it now for the tariffs on China, the tariffs on Mexico, Vietnam, Thailand. The American consumer is going to pay it. Between lower rates for film productions, streaming services raising their prices, whether it's movie theaters raising their prices, the cost is going to come off onto who it always comes off to? Us. We are being extorted by the government through tariff shit. Now don't forget, tariffs work both ways. Y'all want to tariff foreign films coming in. What if China put tariffs on American films in China? I'm pretty sure that they've already cut back on films that they're going to import into China now because of all this tariff nonsense. What if India does? What if South Korea does? What if Africa? So we're going to be taking a loss. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a very serious problem, and this is a very serious problem that deserves attention. But we don't want the government's attention with this. We do not want the government to touch this problem with a 10-foot Chinese steel 145% tariff pole, okay? Let's check out some of these comments. Oh, for F's sake, why not direct the Department of Commerce to subsidize the film industry and create incentives for American-made movies? We always have to remember that the intention is always cruelty. The intention is always to hurt, to maim, to cause serious bodily injury. But also, we don't want the federal government subsidizing any type of film, because remember that line that I said? It is, in addition to everything else, messaging propaganda. What would they do to the film industry if they believe that the film industry is importing messaging and propaganda, which is a national security threat created by other nations? What do you think is going to happen? The same thing that happened to Harvard. You don't fire these people. You don't teach the lessons that we want. You don't use the language that we want. We're taking away your funding. It is a tool for control. Another person says, sorry, didn't he defund PBS? Someone said, clearly Trump can say he cured cancer and 95% of this liberal dominated industry would have something negative to say. Someone else said, well, he's proposing to cut cancer research, so that's probably not going to happen. Someone said, why doesn't he institute a federal tax credit for American-made films? As I was reading it, that's where I thought he was going. Always about the stick with this guy and never about the carrot. If they do that, then it will be a tool for control. Cut this from your movie or else you don't get the tax credit. Make a movie about this or else you don't get the tax credit. How he's using these law firms, that were at some point prosecuting him from what I understand, to now forcing them to work pro bono for free to legally harass, vexatiously litigate his enemies. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Why not just create incentives for American independent cinema? This, the same president who was taking away all federal arts funding. Someone else is saying, am I misunderstanding, or doesn't this sound like a nail in the coffin? This concerted effort is not to be blamed on other nations. It is to be blamed on the greed of our own nation, the studio execs and owners, his own friends. People like Jeff Bezos, which Amazon is a distributor of films. He's right in suggesting we aren't offering the incentives other nations are offering, but if another nation shoots a film here in the US, they generally will hire US crew members, and Lord knows we need the work. I've worked on several foreign productions. I would think doubling down on offering greater incentives to bring work here would be what we want, whether the producers, financiers are domestic or foreign. But maybe I'm reading this wrong. Isolationism and probably state-controlled media in the near future. Not good. Yeah, they get it. This is a real problem. We do not need help from the government because we know that they're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. It is literally a method and a tool to extract their cut. And also, they know the power of the media. They know the power of messaging and film. I want you to think about all the type of content that this could involve. Squid Game is a foreign TV series. That will be tariff. You know, all the animes, all the Korean shows that we watch, all the shows from Mexico and Latin America that we watch. You think Netflix is going to eat the cost? No, it's going to come back to us, as it always has. Hollywood is shaken by Trump's tariff plan for the movie industry, written by Brian Stelter, Jamie Gangle, and Kevin Liptak. Filmmakers and Hollywood financiers are baffled, to say the least, by President Trump's announcement that he wants a 100% tariff on movies produced outside the United States. Several movie studio and streaming industry executives who spoke with CNN are downright apoplectic which means angry, because they believe the president hasn't thought about the ramifications of his proposal, which could decimate an iconic industry. On first blush, it's shocking and would represent a virtually complete halt of production, one insider marked, but in reality, he has no jurisdiction to do this, and it's too complex to enforce. For example, I just watched this film recently. Girl, You Know It's True. This movie was about the story of Milli Vanilli, and Milli Vanilli was a singing group that came from Germany that eventually became popular in the United States. So they have to film the film in Germany, you know, whatever other countries that they went to film certain shots. They also filmed it in America, in Los Angeles, to show both sides of their life. This film was a collaboration between German production companies and United States production companies. Okay, Voltage Pictures is an American film production and distribution company. Media One is a French media conglomerate and audiovisual international production and distribution group. Weidman and Berg is probably German. It sounds kind of German, okay? So multiple countries throughout the world collaborate to make films. Certain stories come to life because they have to. Like, how would you even enforce this? Like, is only the scenes, the stuff that was shot in Germany, you know, gonna be tariffed? Are you gonna then tariff films with foreign actors? You know what I'm saying? It's like this isolationist, nationalistic, fascistic, supremacist mentality is a brain-eating fucking disease, dude. There's no logic behind it. There's no research. There's no science. It's all supremacy. You know, a lot of the supremacy is white. You know, it's in there. It's hard. It's like cement. It's like concrete. But a lot of it, class supremacy, nation supremacy, just comes from supremacist, brain-eating ideology. And also unrelenting, unrestricted, bloodthirsty, cannibalistic greed. The man with the golden goose, King Midas level greed, willing to maim, destroy, kill in order to extract every last Abraham Lincoln cent that can be possibly extracted. I know that was really intense, but I just really need you guys to understand the sick and twisted nature of the people that we have to deal with. Oh, there's an issue? After talking with someone for an hour about it, let's just put a tariff on it. Let's bring a bazooka to a knitting circle. Other sources are taking a more open-minded view, asserting that Trump is instigating a dialogue about a real issue, so-called runaway production, that has left many Americans in the movie and TV production sector out of work. In its current form, the tariff doesn't make sense. Jay Sears, vice chairman of United States Talent Agency. American actors and directors would generally prefer to work close to home, but the fact is it's cheaper for Hollywood studios to pay for everyone to get on planes, pay for hotels, because the cost of labor, lack of rebates, and the ability to make things overseas is infinitely cheaper. I think I've told this story before about how I was working on a music video down in Hollywood in Florida. Obviously the cast, the actors, you know, the directors, producers all came from Los Angeles, and this was a small budget production, mind you. They came all the way because it was just cheaper to do that. You know, I hear stories about, you know, being snitched on if you take out a camera, you're filming something. Don't even think about taking out a tripod. They'll find you. They're all up on you. It's not right, you know. And the thing is, it all, of course, comes back to greed. The government is not giving tax incentives because they know how much the film industry is making. They know that they're making big money, and they're like, no, you guys are going to pay us too if you're going to do this. When everybody is like, no, you're going to pay us too. No, you're going to pay us too. Who do you think is getting fucked? It's the production people who are getting fucked. Our rates are not increasing. In fact, you're getting lowballed more and more often now. People who are in higher up positions now have to work lower positions because there's just not as many productions being made. The production company doesn't want to have to cough up the money to pay the government. It basically comes down to greed. The production company is like, I don't want to pay the government. I don't want to pay the crew workers all this money. We're trying to keep as much money as possible. We need to make as much profit as possible. You know, and like the article said, yeah, most actors don't want to be having to flown somewhere else or to another country. They would like to stay home close to their families, just go to work, do their work on set, come home at night. The problem is that the production companies are not willing to eat the costs. And trust me, if they go along with this tariff, they will use this as a tool to show how they cannot pay people better because they have to pay for these tariffs. And again, the same thing with the tariffs on China and Mexico and all these other places. Who is going to pay for it? You guessed it. Us. I work in media, I do film entertainment, but I also consume a lot of it. Clearly it's gonna come back to us. I don't know if it was Apple, but they got a huge tariff on their goods, and for them it's easier just to make the consumer pay the tariff than to bring the company and the factory back to America. The experts are saying on here is that you're likely to cause the industry to come to a complete halt. It's absolutely true that the millionaires, the CEOs, David Zaslav, all these other network and studio executives are putting the films abroad in order to save money. You have access to these people. If you wanted them to bring it back to America, you would put pressure on them. You could put public pressure on them. You would tweet about them. You would talk to them. You would invite them to Mar-a-Lago. You would really do this. It's not about that. It's literally about posturing. It's about supremacy. It's about control. The mafioso mindset of like, you gotta pay us $1,000 before your laundromat burns down. Like, that's what it literally comes down to. Because if he really wanted to bring back productions to America, he would do it in a way that incentivizes and encourages, and not in a way that fucking punishes. And not that these production companies need their hand held, but they're never, ever, ever gonna put people before money. Okay, these guys are not gonna put their purchase of their 7th yacht behind a production family who is about to lose their house. They don't give a fuck, man. They don't care. They need the 8th house in Tahiti. And this is just, again, posturing. It's performative. It's not really addressing the heart of the problem, which is unmitigated, bloodthirsty, blood-sucking greed. Sures noted that it can be significantly cheaper to make movies abroad, so a blanket tariff has the ability to bring the movie business to a standstill, which is the last thing Hollywood needs after dual strikes and a content recession. And this man got up there and said that he doesn't want to hurt people. Yes, that's exactly what you want to do. We are already hurting really bad. Like, it's really bad for a lot of us. It's a miracle that the electricity is still on, okay? Let me not speak too soon. Some of the industry sources who spoke with CNN doubt that any such tariff plan will actually be implemented. As intellectual property, movies are a form of services, not goods. Services are not ordinarily subject to tariffs, and it's unclear how Trump's tariffs on foreign movies would work. Furthermore, Trump's assertion that foreign film productions constitutes a national security threat may not withstand legal scrutiny. They don't care. They don't care. They're going to do it anyway. They don't respect the courts. Again, mafia mentality, supremacist, nationalist mentality. I wonder what films they were thinking of when they talked about national security threat. Is it series like Squid Game? Is it movies like Parasite? Is it movies like Mickey 17? They have a Trump-like character in that movie that they make fun of, and that movie is a Korean American, probably also British collaboration film. Also, Alex Garland's 2024 masterpiece film, Civil War, was a collaboration between British and American production companies and distributors. It was filmed in America with American actors, but it was also filmed in London, and the post-production was finished in London. Alex Garland himself is British, and his movie depicts America during a second Civil War, which also has a Trump-like president who was a worm child at the end of the film by rebels. Is it movies like that they are saying has bad messaging and propaganda? I wish people would talk more about that line in that fucking post so much more, because that is the one that sums it all up. Multiple executives have reached out to Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick about the tariff proposal. According to 2 sources familiar with the discussions, Lutnick on X responded to Trump's tariff demands Sunday night saying, "We're on it." In the Oval Office Monday, Trump said he would hold meetings with Hollywood executives before making a final decision. "We're going to meet with the industry. I want to make sure they're happy about it," Trump said. He loves to name drop. He loves to say who he knows, who he's close with, who he's cool with. He has always been someone who liked being aligned with Hollywood, liked being next to celebrities and music artists and athletes and boxers. He's always been that guy. So he's going to call his favorite, cult members in the Hollywood celebrity elites, you know, over to see what they think about it. All this stuff with his meme coin and him selling basically meetings with him. Now imagine one of these executives have to pay their way to get a meeting with him to try and stop this shit from happening, which is exactly what they want to happen. Trump met over the weekend with actor Jon Voight at Mar-a-Lago to discuss plans for reviving the American film industry. Jon Voight, mind you, 86 years old. What the fuck are you doing there? Control, greed, and supremacy, okay? Supremacism is a belief that a certain group of people are superior to and should have authority over all others. The presumed superior group can be defined by age, gender, race, ethnicity, religion, orientation, language, social class, ideology, nationality, culture, generation. The supremacy of these nationalists, the supremacy of these Christians, the supremacy of these English speakers, the supremacy of these conservative ideological nut jobs. So this guy had dinner with Angelina Jolie's dad, and now all of a sudden he's an expert on how we should bring jobs back to the film industry. If you want to bring jobs back to the film industry, why did you invite Jon Voight over? Why didn't you invite over David Zaslav? Why didn't you invite over Jeff Bezos? Why didn't you invite over Tim Cook? Apple TV. You want to bring jobs back? Why didn't you invite over Reed Hastings, chairman of Netflix? Why didn't you invite his ass to dinner? Ryan Robbins, the CEO of Paramount Pictures. Why didn't you bring any of these people over to dinner to discuss with them the future of the industry? Voight had been developing a plan along with his manager Stephen Paul, and the plan included ideas for tax incentives, but not specifically on new tariffs, the person said. On Monday, a White House spokesperson, Kush Desai, said, while no final decisions on foreign film tariffs have been made, the administration is exploring all options to deliver on President Trump's directive to safeguard our country's national and economic security while making Hollywood great again. If y'all cared about economic security, you would talk to your billionaire buddies about what they're doing. And these people care so much about ideology, national security, messaging, and propaganda. No one is stopping conservatives from spending money to make the movies that they want to see. These people are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. You can't tell me they can't spend a $1 million to promote their ideology. Become a writer. Make a good movie. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make your own fucking movie and put it in theaters. If there's such a big, wide audience for conservative value movies, make it. I noticed that the Go Woke, Go Broke brigade is very quiet about sinners. Have y'all noticed that? I haven't seen no think pieces. I haven't seen no commentary. I haven't seen nothing. I haven't seen nothing about that. The White House reference to all options may calm some nerves, since Hollywood lobbyists have been pushing for carrots like federal tax incentives for films rather than sticks like a tariff for some time now. Like I said, you don't want their money, because when you take their money, you have to do what they say. It's the same thing about when they send the movies to China. Y'all want the movies to go to China. You guys got to deal with Chinese censorship, and they have to take certain things out of the movie and not say certain things. And they do so because they want access to the $1 billion of a Chinese audience. It's going to be the same thing here. And don't you guys think they're not going to sell us down the road? Because again, the people at the top, it's not about art, it's about money for them. Movie and television production, once centered in and around Hollywood, has gravitated to other U.S. states and increasingly to other countries owing to tax incentives and other financial calculations. A wide array of movies from low-budget indies to studio blockbusters are currently being made in countries like the UK, France, Germany, and Hungary, the entertainment trade magazine Variety noted on Monday, while conveying shock and disbelief across the European film industry. Europe is like, what the fuck? They're trying to fuck us in every way. But I also think that it brings up a very important point that I have made in previous videos about how the LA, New York industry has to be broken up. I feel bad for people in LA. I feel bad for people in New York. I'm from New York. I worked in the New York industry for 6 years. But I mean, you can't have thought that it was going to be like that forever, especially with globalization, especially with everyone having access to a camera. It wasn't always going to be LA or bust. Again, like I said, I feel very bad for people. I know this is going to be very triggering, the things I'm going to say. Other people in other states need work too, you know. In Florida, need work. We want the movies. Yeah, we want productions to leave Los Angeles. We do. We want productions to leave New York. We do. Because there's plenty of talented hardworking film people in Florida. And everyone should not have to move to Los Angeles in order to work in this business. Like, it's not the only place that you can tell a story. It's not the only place with a downtown. It's not the only place with mountains. It's not the only place with a desert. And I see these comments sometimes, oh, it's going to other states and they're getting taken advantage of and all that stuff. And yeah, maybe in some cases, you know, I definitely have had productions from other states come down and try to lowball us, but that's not the case most of the time. I'm not working for rates where I'm getting fucked. And there is a narrative that productions that go abroad are underpaying, treating the people terribly. They're getting abused. I know it happens for a fact because that's just life. But that's not always the case. It's very highly likely that they're going abroad and they're paying people great day rates and they're still saving a fuck ton of money. I don't want anyone in LA to lose their house. I don't want anyone in LA to lose their car. I wish it didn't happen so suddenly. And everyone having to move to New York or LA is making Los Angeles and New York hellscapes to live in. So fucking unaffordable. I was living in Delaware. It was time for me to go. And I said, either I'm going back to New York or I'm going to South Florida. I ended up going to South Florida because I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going back to New York. It's too expensive. Life is just harder. It would be way worse than it is now. It would be way worse. I would not be able to have my own apartment. That would not happen. There's too much competition. There's too many people. The traffic is horrible. The congestion is horrible in both places. The landlords, it's giving them the power to charge whatever the F they want because they know that every single day there's freaking 10,000 people moving to Los Angeles to start their Hollywood dream. It was bound to happen. Another big lesson to take from this is independence. We're going through really fucking hard, rough times right now. And I know that a lot of black people and immigrants, okay, are like, struggle, no money, everything's too expensive. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, fixed it myself, repaired my car with zip ties and duct tape. We got McDonald's at home. A lot of us have been living like that since birth. I think that there are a lot of people that never had to really know what struggle is in their life. A lot of people are having to learn what it feels like to be underpaid, to be underemployed, which is something that they might not have ever had to deal with in their life. But a lot of us, minorities, immigrants, women, have had to deal with that. We done survived this long. What more can you take from us? We didn't have shit to begin with. I read these stories sometimes. Producers, story producers, upper echelon people on set. They're saying things like, I haven't worked in a year. I haven't worked in a year and a half. I'm just like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all are some of the most trained people. Some of y'all making $5,000 a week to plan, execute, do shows. Y'all have the insider knowledge. I'm just like, is making stuff on your own like beneath you at a certain point? Y'all have the contacts. Y'all know the people. Y'all know the camera people. Y'all know the sound people. Y'all got people y'all been friends with for years. Y'all got the connects. And y'all probably got the money to buy the equipment too. So aversion to independence is like, it's killing y'all. Like, it's gonna kill us. Indie or die. Be independent or die. Don't ever put your entire fucking livelihood on these companies, man. And maybe, yeah, everyone's just finding out now. I just don't understand how people can say they haven't worked in 18 months. Like, are you going to do something else? Are you going to, like, make your own projects? Are you going to start your own network? Which we have plenty of opportunities to do online. I think people see it as beneath them, which is interesting. I go through hell to make my projects. It's not easy. But if I had the connections, I would be putting a hell of a lot more out than I am now. Again, I have empathy. I am also fucking struggling. My short is up to 100,000 views now. Interchange. The Taking. We got another one coming, okay? I'm doing this by any means necessary. If you're passionate about it like that, where it's by any means necessary, you will find a way. Some of y'all, late 30s, early 40s, y'all just waking up now to what it really is. Welcome. Surprise, 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 surprise. They don't give a fuck about y'all. We knew that already, though. A lot of us over here on this side knew that already. The same industry that a lot of us are being gate kept out of is now happening to a lot of people who thought that they were behind the gate, who were also gatekeeping people out of the industry. Because there are people that are still working and doing well. I know that for a fact. I see the productions all the time on the groups I'm in. I see the productions happening. I see the jobs. Somebody's getting them. This is what the industry, then they gate kept it to this. And now it's being gatekept to this. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are finding out that they were not actually in this club. They were not actually in this crowd. And it hurts and it's painful. And there will be a grieving process. I've had my grieving process. I'm still grieving, but I'm like, as the celebration of life portion of grief, working on basically like TV shows, commercials and shit. I know that there are better things after this life. I know that there are better things after working in this business because I'm developing my own thing. You know, I'm creating my own lane. I'm telling my own stories. And so it brings you a sense of peace. We got to pivot, man. We got to rethink. It had to break up. The LA, New York monopoly had to break up. I know for a fact, 100% fact, there are tons of people who want to leave LA and New York. They want to get out, but they're staying because of their career. And this will allow a lot of those cities have population declines, hopefully. The prices will come down. The gentrification will come down. But I don't want this to happen with tariffs. That's a big point. I don't want this to happen via tariff. This needs to happen via other ways. Trump made the idea sound simple when he spoke with reporters at the White House on Sunday night. He makes everything. He's a simpleton. What'd you expect? Other nations have been stealing the movie making capabilities from the United States. They've been stealing it, and not the studio executives and the producers, the American studio executives who are taking the jobs abroad. It's literally gaslighting, and there are people that believe this. Other nations stealing our capabilities. Other nations have been stealing the movie-making capabilities from the United States, he said, apparently referring to the growing number of movies that are produced in other countries like Canada. We should have a tariff on movies that come in, Trump said, possibly referring to movies that are financed and distributed by American companies but filmed elsewhere. But the MPA released a report in 2023 showing the U.S. film industry runs a $15.3 billion trade surplus with foreign markets, amounting to 3 times the value of the films that are imported. However, it's not clear if the MPA included domestic films that were produced abroad. Again, stupidity. The fact that America exports so many films, as I talked about in China, when places like India, South Korea, we don't go to the movie theater and see a Chinese movie or a Korean movie, unless you're going to like a special theater. But they go to the theater and our movies are playing all over the place. That is a form of American soft power, exporting American culture throughout the world. There's literally nothing wrong. We are winning. Will movies be made by American companies but set in other countries, say a World War II historical drama or James Bond or Mission Impossible, be taxed for filming in the places where they're set? What about movies that are produced partly in the United States and partly in other places? Or as Sudeis asks, if 2 minutes of the movie is shot overseas, does that deserve to be taxed? Some of the industry executives wondered aloud if Trump's idea was about punishing Canada, where many films are now made due to tax incentives. One of the sources asked, speaking of left-leaning Hollywood, is he trolling us because we didn't vote for him? And one executive asked if Trump had any real sense of how modern TV and movie production works. Has anyone told him that what this will do to James Bond, Harry Potter, and Dune? Where are we supposed to shoot Emily in Paris? Great questions. Great fucking questions. This dude, like I said, wants to maim and kill. Literally, they don't care who dies. Let them die. If these productions came back, everybody could get some. It doesn't have to just be LA. It could LA, New York, Colorado, New Mexico, Louisiana's popping off, Georgia. Everybody can get some. But it comes from greed. Every film doesn't have to be done for fucking $10 million. They could do indie budgets for upcoming budding filmmakers for $100,000. Can you imagine if I could get $100,000 to make a movie? Oh, I'm gonna make it fucking work. I'm gonna write something to make it fucking work. Like I said, just disgusting, unmitigated greed. Don't be mad about productions going to other states. We want to work too. We don't like them going abroad, but they could do both. That's the thing. They could do both.
They have the nice sign and everything's good, but they don't do very much. A lot of it's been taken to other countries because, there's some advantages, I guess, and I'm not looking to hurt the industry. I want to help the industry.
Will tariffs, do you think, help bring filmmaking back to the U.S.?
It's encouraging for us to see President Trump recognize real economic struggles in the film and television industry. We've had COVID problems, we've had strike problems, we've had fire problems, and every time we try to climb out of this hole that we're in, something new happens. The conversation about tariff, we don't necessarily think that's the best way forward.
It's cheaper to bring 100 American people to Ireland than to walk across the lot at Fox. There are no tax credits. All those other places are offering 40%.
Yeah.
Tariffs are something that are a little bit trickier for us because we're not a car business. We are not steel. We don't operate that way. We're intellectual property. It's a little bit different. When we make movies, we choose to make them abroad, oftentimes for the subject matter. There are other ways to bring production back to the United States. There is a limited capacity here, I will tell you, which a lot of people don't know. There's 3 crews available in Atlanta for production. That means probably 6 movies a year. There's only so much we can do in the United States. We are much more interested in something where we would incentivize people to shoot here, but not punish people who, by story requirements, have to shoot abroad.
Sounds like you think the president is right in the diagnosis, but wrong in the prescription.
Because it's like you don't really understand the depth and breadth of the problem. I mean, this guy would know more than me, right? Okay, he should know more than me what's going on in Atlanta. But, you know, he's basically insinuating there's 3 crews down there. So I don't know what he means by that, 3 stages. I know that there's not like 3 production companies in Atlanta. I know that that's not true by any stretch. But if you guys maybe promoted that Atlanta would be the next place to be for film, I know that there's tons of people that would love to move there. Atlanta and surrounding areas would have growth. These jobs going throughout the country being evenly distributed is good for everybody. A lot of those states, all their best creative people left and are in LA or New York now, or Atlanta. You know, it's a brain drain, creativity drain. What's stopping them from building a big ass fucking studio in, you know, Central Florida or South Florida? They're supposed to be building one in Fort Lauderdale. We'll see about that. What's stopping them from building a huge studio in Utah? If they wanted to, they could do it, you know? Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all this tariff nonsense. There's a lot of psychological mind games, you know, a lot of gaslighting involved in this. I'm not going to congratulate a fish for swimming. Oh, the great senpai has noticed me. Not going to happen. We've been screaming about this for eons. We've been screaming in Florida at Ron DeSantis about this issue. Okay, they've been screaming at Newsom about this issue. Everybody knows that this is a problem, that this is going on, okay? We don't need the help of the federal government. I don't have the breath or the time today to go over what I think we should do. Obviously, there's state level tax incentives. I think sounds like the best deal. But to me, indie. Let this be the biggest thing you take away from this. Indie. You have to make your own shit, man. They told us, get a government job. It was secure. No, it ain't. It's not secure. There's no security in modern America. Whatever you need to do to make what you need to make, okay? Yeah, you might not be able to blow up a car in your indie film today, but if you work really hard, you create, you put out, you build an audience, yeah, I think you could get there. I think you could actually get there. We've watched so much stuff from YouTube actually be made into feature films that actually get funding. Or we've seen people make enough money, you know, starting their own entertainment production business, that they're able to pay for those types of things. And that's the angle I'm going. Everybody, remember, this should be a lesson right now in independence, okay? Speaking of which, like I said, we just dropped 2 short films this year since February, Interchange and The Taking. The links will be in the description box. Please go show them some love, y'all. Everything we make is going to get better and better and better. These next films that we have coming out, I think, is really gonna surprise everybody. And again, like I said, we're just gonna get better at it. We're all working professionals volunteering to work on these films. It's not completely free for me. Obviously, I make sure people are fed, drinks, dinner, lunch, all that stuff. It's a lot of work that goes into it that I'm not being paid, but it's all to be paid eventually. We're almost close to 500 subscribers on that channel, which is gonna start us to be able to, we'll be able to turn on our fan and membership levels, which is wonderful. And then we will be fully monetized at 1,000. That means we're literally getting paid to write, direct, and produce our own short films if we get monetized on YouTube. So that's absolutely the goal and where we're going. I just want to ask everybody to please go check out the channel, subscribe. Primal Fear, The Taking, Interchange, okay? If you love short films, you want to support indie film, you want to support a female filmmaker, YouTuber, content creator who is saying to the system, please make sure you go and support. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a comment, rate, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'll catch up with you guys in the next one. Peace.